There we go. Hello, hello everyone. Wow, it is Wednesday, and welcome to Rise and Shine. My name is Coach Lacey, and if you haven't already, please be sure to hit the subscribe button or follow wherever you're finding me out. It is Wednesday, June 4th, and today. Oh, we're just sitting with everything that happened yesterday in our community and the grief and tragic loss of Evelyn, Peyton, and Olivia Decker. Mm. And today I want to talk about what happens when shock wears off, when the aftermath settles and the storm is over and you are looking around at all of the chaos and the tragedy that has been left behind. And how do you pick up the pieces and how do you start moving forward when things go quiet and you don't feel okay? And things don't feel okay, you know. You're going through the motions, you're breathing, you're answering messages, but you're in suspended animation and nothing feels real. And it kind of feels like you might just be living in an alternate reality and it doesn't really settle in that this is your life yet. Your mind is running in a loop. Memories are playing over and over again. You might start crying. You might be in a public place with people and you might be really embarrassed that you just can't hold it together. Your spirit feels scattered. You feel like you can't quite catch your breath or catch your feet and have them on the ground. And that is the part of grief that nobody really talks about and that we're not really prepared for. We're not really prepared for the aftermath and the silence and sitting with the memories and sitting with what now is a changed life that we didn't ask for. We didn't ask for this new life, the afterlife, life after death. But it happens. It happens to us all. We will all experience life after death of a life that we loved, after people we loved. It's the moments in which we're trying to hold it together and maybe you're holding regret and grief and thinking that maybe you missed something or maybe you could have done just this one thing and had this one conversation. And if you would have done it differently, what would the outcome have been? And oh, could you have saved that person, place, or thing or time? Maybe you could have done more. Maybe you could have showed up in a more thoughtful way for the people you loved. And maybe you could have had, more energy and time and memories that you would have available to you in this time of healing. And maybe you could have stopped what tragedy happened. At least you think you could have, right? But the outcome of life is not up to, it is not, we did not write this story. We are merely the storytellers. We are the ones that are living a story and we're finding out as we go how to tell it. And once we learn those lessons and we resonate with our own pain, and we reconcile our own puzzle and go through our own journey, then we can help others walk through it. But we have to get through that time of shock and awe, that time of realizing that your life is not your own, and that you didn't write the story, and the legacy was already written. And you might not understand why such tragedy had to happen to you. It didn't really happen to you. It's just a part of the story that is being told, and you already chosen for this moment because God knew you could hold on to it. God knew that you had the grit and the grace and the fortitude to be able to transcend some of this hurt. And if you don't, then you too will succumb to that darkness. Sometimes we're not meant to prevent the pain. It's not something that we can stop. We're meant to feel it, and we're meant to walk through it, because that too is a lesson. And it's a lesson we need to learn for our own soul, but it's a lesson that maybe we're passing these teachings on to others. And that's what creates the legacy, and that's what creates a generational ripple effect. You didn't ask for it. You didn't ask for this pain, but how do you hold on to it? Do you store it in your heart, in your mind, in your body, or do you release it and use it as a lesson for others and teachings for others? In the face of great tragedy, we have a choice. Our life is comprised of choices, and every choice that we make, and every decision, every word we speak, and every action we take will open the doors to new realities and the new story that's being told. And whether it's fixed or not, that's up for debate. But nonetheless, we're all part of a bigger story that was not written by us. We are the storytellers. And so how are you going to tell your story? Is it going to be one of sadness and tragedy, ending like the story that you are trying to reconcile in your mind? Are you going to fall to that darkness? Is the darkness going to prevail? Because there's a calling on your life, and are you going to answer it, or are you going to fall to the darkness, right? And let Satan steal your story, steal the storyline, the dark forces. People don't believe in dark entities, but the only way that such evil can exist is if, you know, if there is such thing as dark and light. And sometimes we are just meant to process these things and carry it and not run from it. Can't just run from it. You know, you can hold on to it, but you might want to process it and look for the roses instead of the thorns. Look for those glimmers, in the movie The Never Ending Story. She holds on to the glimmers at the end and recreates, the world. But she had to hold on to that light and hold on to it through the nothing when the nothing comes and sweeps over you. So hold on to that glimmer, you know. And grief is weird, man, and it's sudden, and it just pops up anywhere. Years later, it can be decades later, and you can still feel the grief of a time and a life that you don't get to know the outcome of the story. It hits you when you're doing regular things like folding laundry or going to the grocery store or driving your vehicle or, looking at apple juice, mac and cheese, it hits when you are just in the middle of work and you're talking with a client or a customer. And then when you sit in silence, everything feels off and that existential dread just kind of sets in. And what do you do with all of that, right? What do you do with all that? Do you hold on to it? Do you just store it up and choke it down? You got to release it. You have to cry. You have to write it out, write them a letter, write all the things that you loved about them. Create a legacy book of all of the pictures and videos and everything that you have. Maybe put it together in an Instagram as a tribute so that you can access it whenever you feel disconnected, because they're still here. They're not gone, even though we can't physically see them and even though we can't physically touch them. And maybe it's not even a person that you lost. Maybe it's a lifestyle or a job you loved, or a time of your life that you really look back on fondly. And you can't give up on your tomorrows because of what happened yesterday, but you can look at yesterday and take the lesson from it and learn to communicate with the loved ones that you've loved and lost and that are in the beyond. Time isn't linear, you know. You you have to look for the signs and you have to see beyond and immediately look for the signs, a a song, um, a book, um, a, a rock on the ground, something that reminds you of them. Look for those signs. And your body's going to store that trauma. Your body knows. It stores it in your chest, really stores it in your gut. And that's where a lot of gastrointestinal things start to manifest because of that uneasiness and that grief. And you'll notice that, if you've had a lot of grief, weird health problems will start to pop up because you're storing that there. And you have to learn how to let that energy flow through you and, you know, and move that energy out so that you can make room for the new and not get stuck. And healing is not just about healing from grief isn't just about journaling and crying it out and listening to music. It's about anchoring in. If you are new to me, I have a mantra. It's anchor in. Anchor in through your controllables. What can you control? Well, you can control what you eat, right? You can control the foods that you put in your mouth, how you nourish your body. You can control how you move, how emotion changes emotion. If you're feeling shitty, go move. Go move your body. Go walk, go dance, go swim, go play pickleball, go lift weights. There are so many things that you can do to get out and move, especially now because it's summertime. You know, hydrate your body. Make sure you're drinking water. Turn off the noise, turn off the negativity, turn on something that is feeding your mind. Feed your mind with positivity, feed your mind with spiritual goodness, feed your mind with things that you can access when the darkness hits. When my brother killed himself, I could not even think straight. Like there were times I felt so guilty for the part I played in not saving him because I thought that we could, that I didn't do my part as a sister. What was I supposed to do? What kind of a person was I? How could I even be a health coach? Because I've been a health coach since 2012. I've been in the naturopathic industry since 2008. Health has been my life. Where did I go wrong in helping my brother? Well, I had to rewrite the script in my mind. It wasn't all on me. It wasn't all on what I did or didn't do. In the end, the decision was on him, and a momentary lapse of reason caused him to make a really bad choice. That choice has affected all of us. Did we play our part? Sure. But the choice was his. Can I be mad at him for that choice? Yeah, but what is that going to solve? Can I be sad, deeply, deeply sad by that choice? Of course. But it couldn't stay parked. So I started listening. I started listening to Tony Robbins. Les Brown saved my life. It was simple. It was easy to understand because you know what? That noise, when all that noise is going on in your head, literally it feels like a buzz. It almost feels like that when you see a movie and something chaotic happens and there's that low-key ring that goes on. That's what it feels like. That is what deep grief feels like. And then when you have deep grief hit after you've had grief hit once, oh shit, watch out. I had, after my brother died, I flipped my Jeep and I almost lost my own life. I lost mobility in one of my legs because I had a um massage that went awry after I had flipped my Jeep. And I now am just now recovering feeling in my foot and have mobility and am able to do things I wasn't able to do for a very long time. And this was in 2017 that this all happened. The happy event of my life was getting married to the love of my life in 2018. That was good. That was really good, you know. But then in 2019, my uncle was killed by medical mishap in a hospital that my family trusted. Very tragically, after his own wife had died tragically, like years later, 10 years later. Very awful, heartbreaking. He was like a father to me. Heartbreaking. Couldn't even. Then my other uncle died. And in the midst of all this, my friend's child died. And we were around during all of it. And it was tragic and heartbreaking. And then I lost a series of friends. And then we were kicked out of our house. And then COVID happened and I lost my job, my career of like 15 years for standing up for what I believed in, what I thought was right and turned out is right. My Grammy died, my beloved Grammy. A lot has happened, a lot of grief. Bam, 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 bam. So many things. That's why I'm here before you today. And that is why I keep telling you to anchor in because anchoring in saved my life. It saved me from myself. There's been times through all of that that I've battled my own addictions. I have battled my own mind. I've been on and off of antidepressants. I have battled, tons of silent battles that need not be spoken of. And so have you. So I'm speaking from experience that healing is not just about journaling and crying and listening to music. It is about anchoring in. It is about those little tiny things that you don't think about that you do every single day that you need to continue to do even more so in the grief moments than when you're in a good, you know, good part of your life. So many people let grief just take a hold of them and run with it and they just let, drugs and alcohol and, pot, that's mine. Pot has been a problem for me. Pills were a problem for me. Gabapentin was a problem for me. Laziness was a problem for me. Self-pity was a problem for me. Food was a problem for me. Sugar was a problem for me. Ice cream was a problem for me. Isolation was a problem for me. Being dehydrated. It's still a problem sometimes for me. But it's tuning into and anchoring in to those little things, those little moments that you can take for yourself each day, listening to all the things, start small, I had to start with Les Brown. He was simple. I couldn't listen to Tony Robbins or Brandon Bouchard or all these people talking about business. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't want to do business. I didn't want to work on I didn't care. Who cares? Why would I care about any of that? All I needed to hear was a good word. And Les Brown gave me those good words. And he would always say, when you fall back down on your back, you get back up. When you are parked, you put that car in drive. His mantra saved my life through that time, and I don't listen to him ever now. I'm on to other things. Um, you know, but I will never forget needing to rewire my brain and needing something nourishing to listen to. Because before that, I had been just listening to news all the time, all the time, all the time, constantly listening to from morning in 2020, all I did was listen to news morning, noon, and night. And I think that the time before that, I was listening to Les Brown. But then after everything in 2020, I had to take a step back. And now my day of input, so to speak, content input is more balanced. And so I listen to music, I listen to my info wars, I listen to Joyce Meyer, I listen to YouTube motivations, I listen to Tony Robbins, I listen to Melanie Ann Layer, I listen to Des Dobreve, I listen to Yuri Elkiam. So there's a lot of business in there. And then of course my info wars and X22 and Owen Schroyer and all of that. I need to stay geopolitically informed. I like to make sure that I am watching the mainstream news. And then at night, my husband and I, we watch Apple TV now. We don't watch Netflix. We watch Apple TV and we watch shows like The Silo and Your Neighbors. I can't remember what we're watching now, but we do have a very healthy um input. And we read books, and I have my devotionals, and I have a ton of books that I'm always reading. And we try to be really healthy in the input, and that's a big deal when you are grieving. What are you listening to? Don't be listening to sad songs all the time. It's not going to help. It's okay to cry, but you need to be inputting your mind with nourishing words, and then eating nourishing foods and all of those things. So if the trauma is, and when you're deep in it and the trauma starts to creep back in, you just want to reach for the signs, especially if you're grieving a loss. Look for a song that hits different. A song you always love to listen to with your loved ones. Look for an animal that reminds you of them. My brother, crows everywhere, and crows never reminded me of my brother ever. Like my sister loves bats. Bats are the thing with him. But for me, after my brother died, twin crows kept showing up, and I looked up the significance, and the significance was Odin's twin crows that go out and deliver the news. And so everywhere I go, there are twin crows, and my brother was a twin. And so for me, that's a sign, you know, look for the signs. Look for dreams. Look of your dreams. Try to be conscious in your dreams. You'll find them in your dreams. They're not lost. They're not gone. Watch the movie Interstellar and think of that movie. The very end, it kind of slow going, but at the very end, you'll see. That is what we experience with those people that we've loved and lost. And I can tell you that from my own experiences. I could go on, you know. That's the reality, and that's the connection, and that's love finding its way back to you. So anchor in, one breath, one step, one bite at a time, as one of my mentors, Dr. Allegra Roy, used to say. One sip of water, one step in the sun, just 1 second at a time. You don't have to figure it all out today. It doesn't have to happen today, you know? Just don't succumb to the darkness. Don't succumb to the drugs and the alcohol and the overindulgence and the dark songs and all that shit. It's not worth it. You might have a time. There will be a time you might get lost and twist off. Some of us do. But I will hope that you would anchor in and remember my words when you twist off. To anchor in to your controllables. You can only control your controllables. Okay. Take a breath. You got this. And if you need someone to hold space for you, I'm here. I'm here to talk, sit in silence, DM me, send me a voice note, book a session. You don't need a full plan. You just need to not walk through this alone. So, Mama, I'm here for you. Girls, ladies, need to talk. I'm here. Still here. You're still breathing. That's enough. One step at a time, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Anchor in. Have a day of healing, everyone.